Netgear Orbi 5G Wi-Fi 6 Mesh System Review. The Netgear Orbi 5G Wi-Fi 6 mesh system will easily provide internet for a mansion and up to 40 occupants. To make the most of the 5G speeds, you must have access to this type of service, and ensuring an uninterrupted connection is essential. In the past decade, wireless networking technology has seen tremendous advancement and is now more commonly used than ever before. The technology's omnipresence in households creates a reliance on it functioning properly, although this expectation may be too high for what the technology is capable of delivering. Mesh networks were initially developed to solve Wi-Fi problems in office spaces, and they're now more readily available with products like the Netgear Orbi, as discussed in this review. From the very beginning, the Orbi line has had a curved design that resembles a vase more than any electronic device. Sadly, there's no place for flowers, but for optimal performance, you should have them in plain sight. We had great expectations for the Orbi Mini, but our review of the NBK752 showed that it has the biggest router part of any Orbi model we've seen yet, reversing our hopes that these devices were getting smaller. If this item weighed 1,247 grams and measured 246 by 196 by 86 millimeters, we might be worried if it was wall-mounted above us. Unlike other Orbi products which are geared more towards businesses, there are no wall mountings included in the box, although they can be purchased separately. The RBS750 satellite is thinner than the router. It measures 231 by 183 by 71 millimeters, and only weighs 861 grams. Within the box, you will find two components, power supplies for each, and a single LAN cable, accompanied by some basic documentation. It was observed that the power supply unit for the router is different than for the satellite, with a capacity of 42 watts compared to 30 watts on the smaller PSU. The fact that these two models have practically identical specifications, including the same barrel connector, yet require completely different types of tooling to be made, shows that the Netgear engineers did not recognize their underlying similarity. This NBR750 router has 3 Ethernet ports at the back, one for a WAN broadband connection, 2 SMA LTE antenna connectors, and a nano SIM slot to insert a mobile SIM card. Surprisingly, no SMA LTE antennas are provided at all. Netgear states that the unit will work fine without extra antennas, but if you encounter any connection issues, then purchasing these antennas should be considered. While these antennas aren't expensive, they are not sold by Netgear. The NBR750 router only has 2 Ethernet LAN ports, and with just one spare if you need a wired connection to the satellite, that could be an issue. You may need to purchase an additional switch to expand your wired network to more than a single device. Unfortunately, with just 2 LAN ports on the RBS750 satellite, one to connect back to the NBR750 and the other potentially needed to link another RBS750, you may end up with none available. Netgear has opted for fewer LAN ports than most routers, which offer 4, with some designs offering up to 8 or 2.5 GB for better backbone performance, instead. Netgear recently released an app for both Apple and Android phones that allows you to configure their wireless products. This setup process helps guide new owners while also offering up opportunities to purchase Netgear subscription services. We find it quite amusing that Netgear, a hardware manufacturer, would require customers to download an app that coincidentally informs them to purchase more from the company. Although the Orbi app was useful for getting the hardware up and running, we felt a bit overwhelmed by the constant advertisements. We have previously discussed the expansive capabilities of wireless technology in our reviews, but if you missed that information, we are mentioning it once again. The AX4200MU MIMO-rated router and satellite offer a theoretical combined wireless speed of 4.2 gigabits per second, but it's impossible for any single user to achieve that performance due to the limitation of the tri-band solutions provided. Additionally, this setup is further limited by the 1 gigabit LAN ports that limit data transmission. A substantial amount of the total bandwidth is only available for Wi-Fi devices that communicate across the router, rather than to internet or LAN-connected devices. If the connection is routed through a satellite, then the Wi-Fi backhauling to the router will reduce the total available bandwidth. Network-connected devices such as the internet or a local NAS typically impose the limitation on which speed client devices can expect. We do not know what the proportion of domiciles in Europe is, around 4,000 square feet, with the usual British house being an unpretentious 729 square feet.